Here I've got the rake already hooked up to the tractor. It's a simple pull behind, so it just takes a pin. And it's got two hydraulic lines. Here I'm removing the pins that hold the two arms, the two rake arms in. That lets them fall free so you can lift them up and put them back down with your hydraulics. All the hydraulics on this rake do are lift the arms up and forward and then drop them back down. That's real convenient when you're moving along and you have to cross over a windrow to get to a different area. It also makes it easy to transport. There's no power on these wheels. There's no power takeoff. The hydraulics don't run the wheels. The wheels run by friction along the ground. It's a pretty clever thing. This style of rake was invented back in the mid-40s. I think the first American manufacturer were somewhere around 1950 or so. They're called wheel rakes or pin wheel rakes or finger wheel rakes. You may be wondering, why do you rake at all? Why don't you just run the baler over the hay that's laying in the field? The reality is you save a lot of time by using a rake. You can see here we're picking up 2.5 cutter widths of hay. That means that basically we're going to take 2.5 less laps around the fields with the baler. And the baler is a big, heavy piece of equipment that sucks down the diesel. And in this business, saving diesel means saving money. I've divided up most of my fields into smaller paddocks. It's just a more efficient way to feed cattle, but since I don't have any cows right now, I'm cutting it all for hay. I kind of like raking hay. It's oddly satisfying. But it wasn't always that way. It wasn't until about 100 years ago they actually came up with a horse-drawn implement. Before that, they just used pitchforks, threw it up on a wagon, or piled it up in a big pile out in the field. About 1920, they come up with this self-dumping rake. You basically pulled it, it would fill up with hay, and then you'd pull a lever and it would dump it behind you. I did a Google search to try to figure out what year the wheel rake was actually invented, and I only come up with some rough guesses. So if you know, leave a comment and let us all know. One of the disadvantages of using a wheel rake is that these tines are constantly dragging on the ground, and sooner or later they break. This rake had gotten a flat tire, and so it broke about 10 of these tines on one side. Here I'm just trying to replace them. It's a heck of a job with only one person. Our windrows aren't usually this big. I mean, we had a ton of rain this spring and we got a lot of hay. So we're really blessed. We should get a bunch of bales of hay off of this. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. The Fritz423 out.